so you can do it alright, that's right. Future is bright, alright. You can do it alright, that's right. Yeah, future is bright. Hey, 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 hey. So
You're San Banani Dumelang of Shani. Hello, welcome to it. Lishabeleza Geleza Nati right here on this ABC1 Mzansi for sure. Basan Tibing, Kalibiza Destiny Dolly, and I'm so excited to be in the building. Your number one diva, Super and Lambona. Horokele Tabete Hahulufela. Halebatu Walana, you are more than welcome. I am Destiny Dolly on Facebook and on Twitter at Destiny_TOLI. Guys, this is the second week of our private series. 6th of January right through to the 17th, and already we are here 2 weeks in, making sure that you guys are getting help. Kadi concept is a matric, so that you guys can really prepare well for your assignments and tests and everything that will be thrown at you. Kaslimo Sanasa 2020, also helping you set your goals, academic goals, so that you guys can get the distinctions that you desire. Do remember to speak to us on social media platforms. We are Geleza Nati on Facebook and of course on Twitter at GN_SABC1. Hit us up on Instagram at Geleza_SABC1. Hashtag class of 2020, hashtag GN clan. You already know the drill. We have our awesome teacher with me right here in the studio, Libizolake Janet, and she's here to help you guys with everything related to English. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning, Destiny.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm awesome, thank you. Please tell us what you have in store for us today.
Well, we look at the year as we have done. Okay, so there's your matric calendar. Your contact time is divided into what you would expect: the listening and speaking, reading and viewing, your literary texts, your non-literary texts, writing and presenting, language structures and conventions. And it goes on in term 1 and term 2 and term 3. It's all the same. And then your school-based assessments, 4 in the first term, 4 in the second, and then 2. So you've got oral and 2 writing and a test, 2 orals, lit, and a mid-year exam, writing, and your prelims. So you need to have a good idea of how very short this year is. And I know we all say it to you, but it really is true. The year goes in a flash. In terms of English, this is your time that's allocated. Your teacher's meant to spend those hours every 2-week cycle. But remember, those 4 hours, it might sound like a lot, but it's divided between your literature and your non-literary texts. Then you're meant to do writing for 3 hours, and we're going to be focusing on writing. And then the language comes into the writing, into the reading, into the listening and speaking, or your teacher can actually say, we're going to focus on this particular language structure in this particular lesson. So it's divided as balanced as possible. But the concepts are the same for each term. The ones that I've just gone through, so term 1 and 2 and 3, and then I want to focus on writing. That writing paper is critical. It gives you 100 marks. It's really, really important. And you need to think not just about how well you use the mechanics of English, the spelling, the punctuation, the sentence structure, but on the content as well. And when you come to your transactional writing, you need to think about the formats, the genres in even more detail. So here, I've just said grade 10, grade 11, all of it is the same as grade 12. So, writing and presenting. First of all, writing is a process, and you don't spend enough time on that process. Then you need to know something about the different text types. So if it's an essay or a longer transactional or a shorter transactional, what is required? And then obviously the nuts and bolts: paragraph structure, sentence structure, punctuation, spelling, grammar. It's all of the absolute basics of English. But this is only one aspect. There's a lot that goes into the planning and the preparation, and I don't think you do enough of that. And then there's a lot of practice in here around your gaps. Now, Destiny, I know I was testing you last year on your gaps, so we've had a few months break. Do you remember your gaps?
Paragraphs?
Nah.
For
This
P.
this is genre.
Yes.
And then you are writing for people, and the people are
Audience.
you're getting it back. And your purpose
Oh.
and your style. Now, please notice that with a break of, what was it, about 2 months, Destiny, Destiny remembers one of those aspects, which is why you need to practice and revise, but don't do it cramming, okay? Cramming is called massed practice. And all the research has shown that there is no value in massed practice, right? So this is why people say, oh, I studied really hard for my geography exam. I did really well and I can't remember a thing. Yes? Yes?
Very true.
Why? Because it was massed practice. So that is cramming. What you have to do is you have to do interleaved and random practice. So this is true also when you are studying. Do not study your poetry for 6 hours. Do your poetry for an hour and then your history, then your physics, then your maths, and then your poetry again. That is interleaved. Do you understand interleaving? How do you explain interleaving? Putting things in between. You know, imagine you've got 6 pieces of colored paper and you put a piece of white paper in between. That's interleaving. Do not just study one subject for hours. Same thing in terms of your studying for your English. You practice it, leave a bit of space, practice it again. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much, Janet. I definitely have to learn some of those abbreviations so that I remember everything you've taught me, even on the show. But of course, a cup of coffee, we continue with more learning on Geleza Nati.
Geleza Nati. Geleza Nati.
Welcome back. You're still watching your number one study buddy in all of Mzansi. It is Geleza Nati right here on SABC1. Mzansi for sure. Hope you 5 to 6 a.m. Around the home of entertainment. And of course, this is our primer series taking place from the 6th of Jan right through to the 17th. And this is week 2. So I hope Zele participate, just interacting with us also on different social media platforms. Because of course, this is the platform that we're giving you guys to, and so forth. But also to prepare you for your entire matric year so that you can really do well the assignment and your exams. Speaking of social media, we are Geleza Nati on Facebook and on Twitter at GN_SABC1. Also on Instagram at Geleza Nati_SABC1. Hashtag class of 2020, hashtag GN Clan. But of course, we're continuing with everything related to English with Janet.
Well, it's actually related to process writing. Okay, so what do we mean by the writing process? The planning and the pre-writing. Very important. You need to think about the structure, the language features, the register of the text type that you're going to write, and decide on its purpose, its audience, its context. Now, you brainstorm. You get ideas. You put it into some form of planning like a mind map. Consider the criteria. You always need to look at the rubrics. You need to know how is your piece going to be marked. This is very important. Now, some teachers like handing out the rubrics. I feel that that's often a waste of paper. I want the rubric in here. I want you to know in here what you are being assessed on and how you're being assessed. And if I write like this, it's going to be in this category. And if I write like that, I can improve it by getting into the next category. Very important. Main ideas, supporting detail. Now, a rough draft. You usually can do a rough draft. In FAL, there's enough time to do the draft. But when you've drafted, you've chosen your appropriate words, you've tried to get descriptive words and phrases, you've tried to make the writing vivid, and vivid means
clear
and alive and full of energy. You're going to do some work on it afterwards. But let's just look at this one. Argumentative or discursive piece. You've got to be logical. The argument must flow smoothly. Logical, these are your ideas, and your ideas must be based on reason so that I can follow what you're doing and I can agree with you. If you're writing a story, again, it must make sense. This is called cohesion, that it all hangs together. Try to get it so that I can hear you as an individual, something very personal. Don't just write, everybody knows that. Everybody agrees that. All children are the following. Young people today are like this. There's no individual voice there. You've got to try to write something where I can hear you. I get a feel of the writer behind the piece. That's really important. Now, this is what I was saying when I said we come back to drafting. When you've drafted, you have to look at it critically. Drafting is not proofreading. Drafting is actually reworking it. You have to work on your piece. You rework the text. Now, I think you need to do this as much as you can in the first 2 terms this year. Ask people to read it. Your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, anybody. Give me some feedback on this. What do you really think? As well as your teacher, classmates. And then rework it. And you might think, why am I bothering? Because in the exam, the only person who can look at it is me. But the more you've done that, the more you've engaged with your own writing, the more you've said, Destiny, do you like this? And she said, yeah, I liked the first bit, but the second paragraph I thought was awful. Oh, what's the matter with it? In that engagement, you become a better writer. The only way you learn how to write is by writing. You cannot sit watching people playing football and then go out and try to play. It doesn't work that way. You've got to do it for yourself. So you've got to be critical. And then you've got to look at how you can improve it. So look at other people's writing, suggest how they could improve, and look at your criteria, look at your rubric. And then say, okay, the words aren't good, refine them, choose a better word. My sentences aren't good, let me rewrite them. My paragraphs aren't good, let me rewrite them. The sequencing of paragraphs, the linking of paragraphs. Sequence is which paragraph comes first, second, or third. Linking is how do you get from this idea in this paragraph to this idea in that paragraph. Remember, with paragraph structure, it is unity of paragraph structure. What does unity mean?
Joined togetherness?
Joined together. It comes from the Latin word unus, which means one. So if everything is joined together in a paragraph, it has one main idea. And you've got to have one main idea in your paragraph. Then get rid of ambiguity where people don't understand because it's not clear. Verbosity. Okay, it comes from the Latin word verbum, which means a word. So verbosity, too many words. What I really wanted to say is the fact that why I have done this is because we haven't got to the point, have we? But I used 10 words.
Oh.
Verbosity. Yeah. Offensive language. Please, people, don't swear. You cannot swear in an exam. They swear in their final.
Why would
papers.
someone do that?
I don't know, ask them.
Please don't do that.
So nothing offensive. Now also be careful of offensive in not only swearing, but in using words that are hurtful to other people. Be very careful. I would even be careful, sometimes students say, yeah, but I use that language because I'm trying to get the character, and the character would use that language. Yeah, I get that, but not in a final matric exam, not in a formal document. I think leave that for the rap, You know what I mean?
For your mixtape.
Yes, okay, all right. And then obviously spelling, grammar, punctuation. Right, then you prepare your final version and you revise, you edit, you proofread and present. Editing is work on it. Proofread is just check for little mistakes. This is what you forget to do. You need to do that an awful lot. And then you work on your language structures and conventions in your writing process. So you're working on vocab and grammar and punctuation and all of that during the writing process so that you can improve it. So your writing process, the important thing is 2 places really. One is in the planning and one is in the drafting. And the planning is when you spend as much time as possible on that planning, where you think about the topic. You don't just pick up the pen and start writing. You actually think. Time. Chew your pen. What can I write about this? And remember that there are thousands of students writing on the same topic. This must be your fresh, original approach to the topic. So spend time just sitting, staring at the topic, staring into space, chewing your pen. Then when you've written the draft, work on that draft to make it better. Don't just copy it and then pretend to proofread it.
Yeah, very true. Thank you so much, Janet. Right now we're heading over to Facebook to hear what you guys have to say. All right, Londi, we are finally in matric. Yay! I can't wait to slay English with the help of Gelezanati and our beautiful teachers. All the best for this year. Hashtag GN Clan. Bona Londi, I'm catching your vibe. I'm getting you because excitement. You are finally in matric, so make sure that you get those distinctions. But I can see your goal is to watch Gelezanati, so we've got your back anyway. So, you're all good. We continue with more learning on Gelezanati. Welcome back to Gelezanati right here on ABC1 Mzansi for sure. Do remember you can check us out on weekdays 5 to 6 a.m. Around the home of entertainment. And of course, this is our primer series taking place from the 6th of Jan right through to the 17th. And this is where we have our teachers in the studio guiding you and helping you prepare for this year, matric, what to expect in exams, tests, and assignments. So make sure that you are watching, taking notes, and that you're really, really attentive. Also, remember to engage with us on different social media platforms. We are Gelezanati on Facebook and on Twitter at GN_SABC1. Hit us up on Instagram at Gelezanati_SABC1. Hashtag class of 29, or rather, class of 2020. Look at me still being in last year, guys. Class of 2020. Hashtag GN Clan. But guys, also remember to send us your goals for the year. I'm sure you guys have already planned, hopefully even got your holiday you're planning for 2020. What exactly are you going to be doing? What distinction will you be getting, rather, in which subject? Look at me mumbling. Hey guys, it's very early in the morning, but it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, make sure that you guys are sending through the goals on social media. Our teacher Janet is here to keep helping you guys English. So yeah, Shabang Harutweleng other learning.
Good. We continue with text types and structure and language features. We're writing an essay. Get your brain in gear. Okay. All right. So looking at grade 12, the length of your essay is different from grade 11 that you were used to last year. These kinds of essays are the ones that you are asked to write. Destiny, anything there that you feel you need to ask about?
Argumentative essay?
So you're presenting an argument. Discursive, you are discussing. Argumentative, you actually meant to have a
stance.
A stance. Do we understand stance? You take a side. Okay. Now look at how it's assessed. Your content and planning is 60%. Now last year, at the end of the year, do you remember you and I were on and we got a question about how is the planning marked? Do you remember that? On Facebook, yeah. Really? And guys, we do not mark your planning by looking at your planning. Okay, what do? I take the essay. So there's the plan, there's the draft, here's the final version. And I start marking. And there are 5 ideas in the first paragraph. And the paragraph is about 150 words long. It's too long. There are too many ideas. What do I do at that point? If it's during the term, I turn back to see, did my learner plan? Because I want to see where 5 ideas in one paragraph came from. And I look at the planning and I write there, this isn't planning, you haven't planned, this is not a mind map. And then I mark the final again. Because how did I know it wasn't planned? What made me turn back? The final version. I can see in what you give me if there is any planning. Now, some students, it kind of just comes together by accident. Well, good for you, but it doesn't always happen that way. So why take the chance that today it's just going to come together fantastically? No, you plan it. And the planning and the content give you 60%, language style and editing is 30%, and structure is 10%. So that's how it is marked. Right, the home in which I grew up. Please stare at that topic, Destiny, because you're about to plan it.
I'm having a look.
Okay, so we don't have enough time. I would like you to stare at it for 10 minutes, but we don't have 10 minutes. So to imagine imagine a sort of blurry thing. 10 minutes have passed. Okay. You would put in the middle of the page the picture of the home. I don't know what the home looked like, and which I grew up, so I'm going to put you. Okay, you're growing up. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. So Tony Buzan, who developed mind mapping, says you must put a picture in the middle. I don't always manage a picture, but I've got a picture. All right. So Destiny, do you want to write about the place or the people?
I think the people.
All right. Who in particular?
My family.
Who? Too broad.
My mother.
Right. Tell me about
My uncle.
where you're going. You're going too much. Okay. Right. So tell me one really powerful memory of your mother.
She was a very assertive person.
Right. That's not a memory. That's telling me. All right. So I want to put here show, don't tell. If you tell me she's assertive, I can't see anything. I can't visualize your mother. I can't see she's this little person like my height. I'm
Yes,
5'4",
she was very
and
tiny.
little person. I don't know it in meters. But she goes up to people and she. Blah, 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 blah. I can't see this. Is she a statuesque woman who looks down? I can't see your mother. Could you give me a memory, please, and not tell me?
A petite woman.
Okay.
And a memory would be of us maybe baking together.
Okay,
She
that
loved
word.
cookies.
Okay, that's not going to give me assertive, but get rid of this. So tell me about baking. What did you bake?
Muffins together.
What kind of muffins?
Different ones. Chocolate muffins.
Okay, we're going to do the
Blueberry.
we're going to do the choc chip muffins. Now, what made that a special memory?
Because I didn't know how to bake, and she was teaching me.
Was this
to
the first time you baked choc chip
Yes,
muffins? Okay, how old were you?
I was 12 years old.
Okay, so baking at 12. All right. Now you would develop this and tell me a little bit more about it. I'm worried about the time. This you still haven't done. So you say to yourself, now hang on, I want to get this petite woman who asserted herself where? Let's say she went to Home Affairs and she was trying to get the driver's license or something. No, an ID document,
ID
so that
document
I could,
for
yeah,
me.
for me. And I wanted to know, you would explain to me what happened at Home Affairs that showed me this petite woman,
Being
being
assertive.
assertive.
Oh, I
Because if you tell me, but I won't remember it. But if you tell me a story, if you share a story about your uncle, then I'm going to remember it. I'm going to go home. I'm going to say to my family, oh, I read this fabulous essay today. It was about this woman. Now, I remember a friend of mine, okay, and she was in a parking garage, and she got a message that her daughter was alone outside the school at 8 o'clock on a winter's night in the dark.
Oof.
And she said to these people, you need to open this boom now. And they wouldn't open because there was a fault or something. And she said, I will drive through it and break it because my daughter is on the pavement alone in the dark outside her school and nobody's looking after her. She drove through the boom to fetch her daughter. Now, that's the kind of story you're going to remember for life. But if you said, my mother was very assertive,
And then what?
I'm not going to remember it. Do you understand? So, show, don't tell. That's the first thing. And secondly, tell me a story about the home in which you grew up. So if it's going to be about, I don't know, painting the home or getting up, my grandfather, I don't know, age 80 something, got up on the roof to fix the tiles with my grandmother standing behind saying, come down, you're too small for this, you're too old, come down. And he's saying, when I've done the tiles. So if that's what you're going to tell me a story that you can go home and tell your family that will stick in your memory. Otherwise, I'm marking thousands of essays in the matric exam. Your essay won't stand out. So what will I do? I will give you an average, mediocre mark because it was an average, mediocre essay.
Wow. Thank you so much, Janet, for that. I hope you guys are not going to be writing average, mediocre essays. Well, let's head over to Facebook. All right, Avela Ari, besides my schoolwork, I'm really hoping to be part of the Learner Representative Council this year. My English marks also need to be on another level. Avela, you're definitely going to be getting that. I'm really, really excited for you. 104 Kasa, because I have teachers like Janet who will teach you and make sure that you're doing really, really well. Right, Janet?
Yes.
Definitely. We continue more Gelezanati. Welcome back. You're still watching your number one study buddy in all of Mzansi. There's Gelezanati right here on this ABC1 Mzansi for sure. Rishabeleng Harabeke 5 to 6 a.m. right here on the home of entertainment. And of course, our teachers are here to help take you guys through some of the work that you'll be doing. So I hope you've been watching and participating. Also, send us your goals on different social media platforms. We are Gelezanati on Facebook and on Twitter at GN_SABC1. Also on Instagram at Gelezanati_SABC1. Hashtag class of 2020. Hashtag GNClan. But we tutor with our teacher, Janet.
And we're doing the longer transactional text. Okay, there's a lot. Is there anything there, Destiny, that you would like to ask about? Do you see how much there is? And do you see you could be asked to write a friendly letter of request, write your uncle that you were talking about, asking him to, I don't know, take you to do your driver's test or something, or a formal letter where you are requesting information, or, you know, you could be, so all of these letters you can get from very, very friendly to very, very formal. So they're like 6 or 7 versions of the letter of request, of the letter of complaint. So there is so much in transactional writing, it freaks me out.
And I think I struggled a lot with a review, which I actually just saw now, because goodness.
All right, so the review as a genre is difficult to write effectively. That's why you go to universities to learn how to become a journalist. But the most important thing in a review is that you need some fact and plenty of analysis and opinion. But you can't just say, oh, the actors were wonderful, or the music was amazing. You have to give me evidence and analysis. And you know how difficult that is? I mean, you were talking about creating your own music. How would you discuss somebody else's music? You know, it's not as easy. You need the technical terms. You need the understanding to discuss the book or the film or the whatever. They usually do not give students plays, because they're really frightened that students haven't been to see plays. But books and films and restaurants, those things they give. They haven't given a lot of reviews of technology, and I can't understand that, because I think that every student in this country could review the latest cell phone. I really do.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I don't understand, but technology has not come into the matric exams in a big way in reviews. But it's not easy. And remember, you've got your 120 to 150 words. So you cannot spend all that time telling the story. You've got to try to put your comment together with your discussion. So not just, this is a story of a 17-year-old girl who falls pregnant. You have to say this heartbreaking tale of a vulnerable 17-year-old who, from no fault of her own, you know, you've got to try and get the comment in. Do you understand how difficult that is for my students? Yes.
I found it really challenging.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Anything else just off the top of your head you'd like to ask about?
I think a letter to the press. Maybe we can get
Okay, now
that.
that's also difficult because the letter to the press means that you have to know something about what is going on in the world. And you've said before on these broadcasts with me that students need a good general knowledge. That's what you need for the letter to the press. So I gave a letter last year when the load shedding started again. I asked my students to write a letter to the press discussing the new load shedding, not saying anything that had been said in the past. And all they did was say everything that had been said in the past. And that's the problem, because then they're boring. And yes, you'll pass, but you're not going to get a good mark. You're just going to get a kind of blah mark, because it's a blah letter. So be careful. You need information. You need knowledge to write that letter to the press. Yeah. All right, moving on. How is it assessed? 60% on content planning and format, and 40% on language style and editing. Oh, and you know something else about most of these is the terrible difficulty of tone. Getting the tone right in a letter of complaint, getting the tone right in a letter to the press, they're not easy. Even getting the tone right in a review. A review has got a kind of energetic, bouncy, colloquial quality together with the best vocab. And you know how difficult that combination is. Yeah, it really is tricky.
And I just saw a cover letter as well, covering letter for the CV. And that's something that a lot of us also need exposure to, especially writing it accurately.
Yes. And look, they are talking about taking it out and just having the letter of application, because they are saying what is the difference between a letter of application and a covering letter. So the covering letter is a bit more, you know, like your letter of motivation when you're asking to do a course at university. You've got the CV. The letter of motivation and the covering letter are giving them something which is not really in the CV. So in the CV, you've said things like, I have volunteered at an SPCA. So that's gone under your hobbies or interests or experience. But in your covering letter, you explain why you did it and what it is about animals and da-di-da-di-da-di-da. That's the covering letter. It gives you a little bit more space to describe something which you wouldn't put into your CV, or if it is in the CV, it's like a sentence. Do you know what I mean?
How does one compress it? Like when there's so much information that you want to share, how do you not just end up saying too much?
Correct. You would choose something for the job that you're applying for. So if you're applying to work at the tuck shop, you wouldn't talk about the SPCA unless you see all the children at the tuck shop as sort of animals. You know what I mean? But you see what I mean? So you choose something that would be relevant, that they would like to know about you, or to show, if you did include the SPCA, it's to show I'm a bigger person than just the person who takes the money at the tuck shop. Understand, there's a fullness, there's a wholeness to me, and I want to show you some of my wholeness. That's what you do. Okay, your shorter transactional texts, again, look at how many of them there are, and say to yourself, don't you go to an advertising agency to learn how to do that? You know, flyers, posters, aren't these done by professionals? Yes.
They are.
So look at what our students are required to do in 80 to 100 words. Anything there you'd like to ask about?
Yeah, an advertisement would be really interesting.
All right, so your advertisements are hard to write because, as I said, they're written usually by people who are really skilled. But as I have said before on a broadcast last year, use your AIDA principle. So your how do I get attention, interest, desire, and action. Use it, put it down the side and say, okay, how am I going to get their attention? How am I going to keep their interest, having got their attention? So a lot of you are saying your goals for the year are to improve your English. So do you want to improve your English? Question mark. I've got your attention. How do I keep your interest? By telling you how. So come to Galeza Nati. We are going to support you through improving your English when Mama H discusses, you know, her life sciences in English. So, you know, that kind of thing. So you keep the interest and the desire. I'm working on your desire to improve your English because you know you're going to need it. And then action. What do you want them to do? Send in the stuff to Facebook?
Yes.
Yes.
Facebook, an email address maybe as well.
Something like that. So you put that in. Okay. But you know, there's a lot. Postcards.
Postcards. I was actually about to ask.
Students don't know anything about postcards.
Postcards, yeah.
No, they don't send postcards. They don't do them. Invitation cards are a little bit better. Filling in forms can be all right. Instructions and directions. Yay, you know. And how is it assessed? There's your content planning and your language and editing. And a letter of application of a past paper. Production company, new TV series, general assistant. Now, what is the problem? Is that you as a learner have to think about what would a general assistant for a TV production company do? And if you don't have some ideas about what that person would do, going to find writing this very difficult.
Thank you very much, Janet. Thank you so much for the pearls of wisdom that you've shared with us. Really awesome indeed. But of course, right now, CBC Education Virtual Academy is here to make 2020 a beautiful year for you. For more info, have a look at this.
Chomi, why are you so stressed? Matric Chom, Amsterdam.
Hi, Wena. You haven't heard about Siva?
Siva. What is Siva?
Okay, let me show you.
SABC Education Virtual Academy is your matric support one-stop shop. SIVA offers complete matric support in mathematics, physical sciences, life sciences, accounting, and English first additional language. You have full access to video lessons. Register on www.siva.co.za.
Go Siva.
Oh yes, it is www.siva.co.za, and remember on Facebook it is #mysiva. So make sure that you guys log on and check out all our awesome lessons that our teachers have given you so that you guys can do really, really well. We continue with more learning on Gelezanati. Welcome back to the Shebeleza Geleza Nati right here on SABC1, Mzansi for sure. Hupulanda Karashabelang Harabeke, 5 to 6 a.m. Konala, the home of entertainment. And this is our primer series that has been taking place from the 6th of Jan right through to the 17th. But now we're on week 2, and this is where we're basically helping you guys, your matric year, what to expect, good test and the assignmenting. And we literally have our teacher in the studio, Janet, and she's here to fill you guys in on everything related to English. So Janet, let's continue.
Right, we're continuing, but it's not me who's going to be filling you in. It's you've had time now to think. Destiny's had time now to think. Let's remind ourselves. This is the topic. So a production company is filming a TV series in your area. Right, got it. The company's placed an advert for the position of a general assistant in the local newspaper. Now, what I was saying before the ad break is if you're going, let's just look at the topic, write a letter of application to the production manager applying for this position. So what I said was, if you don't have any idea about what a general assistant to a TV production company would do, what are you going to put in your letter of application? Don't go, this is your problem.
If
right?
you don't know, then you
Well, you are going to have to help us out, Destiny. You're not just sitting there. Right. So it's a letter of application. Remember, we've got to draw a picture in the middle. And it's for a TV production company. I can't draw a camera. There's a camera and it's on a boom. I can't draw this. All right, letter of application. How many paragraphs?
Letter of application, let's say 4.
Well, I'm going to go with 3. She's too enthusiastic, this woman. Right, I'm going with 3. Okay, in paragraph 1, what do I put into paragraph 1? You put that you are applying for the post, whatever post it is you're applying for. So here it is the general assistant, where you saw the advert. You saw the advert in. Now, please, people, my students are starting to say they saw the advert on a poster on a wall. They saw the advert stuck into the window of the spazza shop. No! Okay, you saw the advert in a newspaper, a magazine, or if you like online and you need to explain on their website, on the TV production company's website. But otherwise, say you saw the advert in, let's say, the Star, and you give the date, okay, and that's what you put into the first paragraph. So I'm applying for the post of which was advertised in on That's it. That's paragraph 1. Good. Now, paragraph 2. All right. And actually, Destiny, I think I will end up doing 4 paragraphs. She's right. So paragraph 2, I was going to do a combination, but sometimes students prefer to separate it out. Paragraph 2 would be something about your personality. Now, what kind of personality do you think you need for a general assistant?
I think I'm someone who's reliable.
Yes, I was going to say efficient, yeah. So you and I are thinking in the same direction. What else?
Punctual.
Yes, yes. So important to start things on time. General assistant. I think you'd be able to use your own gumption, your own, to act without being told, initiative.
Yes, initiative.
Yes, don't use a word like gumption in the exam. It's terrible. It's slang. Did you know gumption?
No.
No, I saw from your face. This is why. Now, can we just stop for a second? This is why you aren't allowed to use slang in your writing, because my slang is not Destiny's slang. So I said, use your own gumption. And I got to the better English word, which is initiative, which Destiny understood. But if you use a lot of slang in your writing and your marker doesn't understand it, you're going to be marked down. Because slang is group identity. You establish the in-group and the out-group by using slang. So what are you trying to do? Shut your marker out? Duh. Right, anyway, sorry, that was just an en passant. En passant? En passant? You know your French? How good is your French? En passant?
Not so good at all.
En passant means in passing. It is a French expression which we use in English. It means in passing, en passant. So yes, okay. But you see about vocab. Anyway, right, back to this. We're meant to be planning this, Destiny. Let's get down to this. So you'd give your personality in this paragraph. Then in paragraph 3, and by the way, I'd like some evidence, for that. And in paragraph 3, this is your experience. This is your work experience. Now, don't make up something like, really fancy. Just say things like, I was an assistant to somebody else, or at school I have run the following functions, just to show that you are intelligent and organized. This is why I like mind mapping. You can go back and put things in elsewhere. So paragraph 3 is experience, and you're right, Destiny, I'm going to need paragraph 4. So you can put these two together, right? You can write it as one paragraph, personality and experience, and combine it. But if I'm going to split it, then paragraph 4 is you say that your CV is attached, because it's a letter of application, so you're not including the CV, and you say you are available for an interview. Now, please, again, my students are saying things like between 2 and 3 on Wednesday and Friday. I mean, don't be that specific. Say every afternoon after 3 o'clock. I mean, you can't, or at any time at the weekends. They're being too specific, especially my grade 9s. So be a bit more relaxed and say, I'm available for an interview. And then you sign it off. That's how you plan it. How do you sign off formal letter? Actually, let's just look at the format of a formal letter. Right, over here is your address. Oh, Destiny, we practiced this last year. Ah, yes. Street, suburb, code. Street, suburb, code. Wait, don't forget the date. Yes, street, suburb, code, wait, don't forget the date. Right, so you put the street, then the suburb, then the code, then the date. Then you leave a whole line open. Then you always write to a person. Now, you don't have to address that person by name because you generally don't know who they are. So put the producer. Okay? Then you put the company. And then you put a P.O. box address. Then you put a suburb, and then you put a code. Then you leave a whole line open. Now be very careful. A lot of students put their P.O. box and their street address. You don't do that. The only place you're going to do that is if you have a, what do you call it, right at the top? That sort of, you put it all in the top, the name of the company and all their phone numbers and everything else. What do you call that? Anyway, you put it there, okay? But you don't do it in a letter. Then, dear Sir / Madam. Then a line open. Now, your subject line. Please do not put application for the post of general assistant advertised in. Try to make your subject line very brief. So, general assistant post. You'd write that out in full. Right? Leave a line open. Right? Then you write your paragraphs. So we planned, that was your introduction, we planned 4. Okay, and that one, right, then you leave a line open. You write yours faithfully. And you sign it, and you print your name underneath. Okay, all right, and follow that template. I mean that as very, very short opening, personality, experience, and paragraph 4. Okay, how much more time have I got?
Not a lot.
Oh,
5 seconds perhaps.
all right. How sad.
All right, thank you so much, Janet. And any last tips for everyone at home?
Yes, all right. So the year lies ahead of you. You're going to make the most of it. You're going to work hard and play somewhat, but not too much. And you're going to focus in class. Don't talk about, I'll do it afterwards, I'll come for an extra lesson. You focus in class. You absorb like a sponge in class. You engage with your teacher. You interact with your texts. And you will find that you will soar.
Wow, thank you very much, Janet, for that awesome advice. Guys, Kid 2020, you actually have a chance to do all of this so that you can do really, really well. But Mama H is going to be in the building, focus on everything related to life sciences. So make sure that you are taking everything like a sponge and taking notes because it's very, very important for you to do well and get your distinctions. And even just before we go, Janet,
yes.
I just wanted to find out, how can someone know that a source is reliable, especially online?
All right, you need to look at who that is. So you need to Google the source.
Thank you for that advice. All right, for me and Janet, it is goodbye and take care.
Bye.
Oh yeah, we sound. Hey. It's 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Mondays to Fridays. Hey. What's good for you today, man? Look, I got a lot of books, I'm stacking paper. Trying to be an accountant, stacking paper. Geographical mind, I'm smashing craters. Okay, listen, I got my bag, yeah, that's major. Every morning when I wake, it's on.